chop stuff out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm here this morning with the lovely Ros. Ros started working with me was it November?
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
And Ros has kindly volunteered to share with us a little bit of her experience through coming to work with me and your experience with the Metabolic Balance program.
Absolutely.
So if you can tell me a little bit about, where you were at when you first came to see me, just to share with everybody the types of, I suppose, symptoms and things like that you're experiencing.
Okay, so basically for the last 30 years since I had my last child, I'd had chronic reflux, problems with my bowel, irritable bowel, and basically had started to build up intolerance to everything dairy and anything with gluten or wheat in it. And even with avoiding all those foods and being on antacids and all that restrictive stuff, I was still very unwell and would often end up in outpatients and on several courses of antibiotics and was having quite regular checkups with endoscopies and colonoscopies just to keep track of what was happening. But basically, very, very restricted diet with little results, and had been to dietitians, had been to specialists, GPs, and everybody was saying, no, it's not the dairy, the wheat's fine. And I'm thinking, yeah. And the day I met you and I was telling you my story and saying, I just don't think dairy works for me, and I just don't think wheat works for me. And you're just going, yes. And I'm going, this lady isn't pushing back, like she's not saying, no, it won't be that, be that. And finally having someone who actually listened and didn't say no, and was quite willing to listen to my story and take on board what I was saying, I felt was happening for my body.
Yeah. And I think that's really important because, as you know that my philosophy around, food is that not every food works for everybody. We are all individuals, and it is entirely possible that what you feel is not working for you isn't working for you. We're really good at understanding our own bodies, and it's quite disheartening when you're seeing other professionals who are saying, no, it can't be that, or no, this is all in your head, and that type of thing. So sometimes it's not just one thing. Sometimes it's a combination of a whole bunch of other things that are contributing to whatever clinical picture or inflammatory picture is going on for you. And that's why I love Metabolic Balance, which is an individualised program that helps get the food right for you. So let's talk a little bit about Metabolic Balance, because you did subsequently come to me and we talked about implementing the program. How did you, or what were your initial thoughts about the program, and did you have any sort of hesitation or some concerns around eating in this particular way?
Great question. I guess the reassurance of when I first met you, that you were listening to me and that you were willing to explore it. But the day I got the diet, it was like, wow, I'm going to starve and I'm never going to be able to do 5 hours in between meals, and I'm never going to be able to do 2 days with just vegetables. And I've got to say, that first day when I saw the diet, I just about had a heart attack. And you kept reassuring me, no, it'll be okay. And I think the online group was good too, because I found that very supportive. I found other people going, you'll be right, this will be fun, but I'm completely shocked that I am not hungry in between meals.
Because you were a grazer, weren't you? Used to
I
just...
grazed all day.
Yeah.
And I believed that I had to, otherwise my stomach would be upset.
Yeah, so you use it as a way to control your symptoms, to,
Yeah,
if it started stirring up, there would be, okay, I need to eat something to settle things down again. So I think that I remember the whole thought of having to go for a stretch of time in between meals was a little bit confronting and a little bit daunting. Yeah.
Whereas now I don't even notice mealtime.
Yeah.
Like as in looking for food and being hungry.
Yeah.
I don't even notice that.
Yeah, because we give you the right amount of protein, the right amount of complex carbs and good fats to get you from one meal to the next. And the primary objective of Metabolic Balance as a program is to control blood sugar levels, so you don't have that searching around looking for food.
And but secondary to that, I think, is just how comfortable my gut always growled and it always rumbled, and whether it was my stomach or my bowel or whatever, it was rumbling up and down all of the time. I don't have any stomach rumbles now.
Amazing.
That's like the fact that my gut feels, I don't even know it's operating and working because it's not growling at me all the time.
Yeah.
That is amazing. In itself. Yeah.
Awesome. And there's been some other changes as well, I think, that we've talked about over time. There was initially, when you came to see me, some reflux symptoms and things like that. How is that for you now?
Well, when I came to see you, I was actually on antacid medication, prescription, and I was also on Mylanta and things like that. And even with those things, I would often at night time have reflux on top of that.
Yes.
And I think that's what was frustrating me so much, was I was doing everything that specialists were telling me to do, but I still wasn't seeing any results. And now I don't have any prescription medications, I don't take any Mylanta, and I'm not up at night with any reflux problems. So, that speaks for itself. So it's wonderful to not be on that medication. But it's even better to not have the symptoms.
Absolutely. And the other thing that you were just telling me today, which I found really, really interesting, is you're a teacher, you work in education, you spend a lot of time with all the beautiful children, with all their lovely bugs that they bring in, especially coming into winter. And I think you've noticed a nice shift in your immune function in terms of when you're coming into contact with all these things.
There's been a lot of illness around, and schools are just a haven for it.
Petri dish.
But particularly at the moment, there's lots of flus and lots of viruses and COVID, and in the last 6 months since I've started this program, I haven't, touch wood, I haven't had any viruses or any illnesses or any antibiotics. Haven't had COVID, touch wood.
Great.
But it's that, I feel within myself that my immune system is well. As I was saying to you earlier today, prior to starting the program, I had a rough couple of years where every time something came through school, I was picking it up, and it was going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And here we are in the peak of all these things, and thus far I haven't had anything.
You're untouchable.
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so. But again, when we're working together, I'm looking for little tweaks and what we can do to help improve that sort of area. So today in Ros's session, we've explored all the different things that she's having and where we can tweak different things to enhance her immune function, where we can get a bit of extra zinc in the game, and where we can, really bolster, omega-3 intake and things like that. What's vitamin D status looking like for you at the moment, and that type of thing, which is really important. And you're having your beautiful shiitake mushrooms, for example, several times a week now, which is works as a beautiful immune protective food. So we're using food as medicine as well in that space. So So what I'd like to know is, what would you say to anybody thinking about, ways to improve their health? What would you recommend to them in terms of considering doing something like this, which seems pretty major, but
I think it's getting you right for yourself. So I'd already done the elimination diet. I'd already worked very closely with a dietitian. I'd already done a lot of groundwork around what is upsetting me, what am I intolerant to. But this program was just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And when I first saw how restricted I was in terms of changing what I was eating, I thought, wow, okay. But it's delicious food, and when you share ideas on how to make things even more delicious,
yes,
then you're not hungry and you're actually enjoying those meals.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing, is that it was really very tailor-made for me. Not this, oh, you've got an intolerance to this, so this is what you can have.
Yeah.
No, it was richer than that.
Yeah.
This is what is good for your body.
Yeah.
And this is what will help you change your guts, so that your whole body is working much better.
Absolutely. And I think that's really key, actually, is that we come from a place of abundance rather than restriction, and it automatically that really changes mindset as well, which is a huge part of any time we have to shift a dietary pattern in some way. We're going from a place of, look at all the beautiful foods that are going to work really well for you, and then we know that they're going to give you everything you need to bring your body back into balance, and that in itself, we start from positivity. And because the food is delicious. It is just delicious. Beautiful whole food, and that's also important, because food is joy, right? Food is at everything, or every level of things that we do in terms of everyday enjoyment. But when we get together in good company for celebrations, on holidays and things like that, and really understanding how to navigate your food without having a fear of food, where you fear that it's going to upset you in some way, then I think that's it's really key.
That's an actually good point, Jane, because I think I am very social, and I have had that fear of what's in that, where can we go to eat?
Yeah. Whereas
I do find now that I can go places and know that I can eat within reason.
Yeah.
Anything that restaurant presents to me, and I'm not going to fall in a hole or get really ill,
really sick. Yeah.
And it's just, I think, just trusting your body more, because it's more settled. It's not so angry. It's not so reactive.
Yeah.
So if you have the odd meal out, you're not going to react as badly. Really great.
So good to see all of the beautiful changes and shifts in your health, Ros, and thank you so much for sharing that with me on video for my audience, and for people that might be considering making a shift in their diet, or maybe they can relate to your story in some way, where they've got that fear of food and the impact that it's having for them on their body, that there is a really great solution where we can work together and build a better state of health. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks, Ros. All right.